These two drunk girls were roaming around at night when they decided to have some pizza in a restaurant. When the girls spot a mysterious clown figure in the same restaurant, one of the girls tries to flirt with him and even forces him for a selfie against his will, unaware that this might be the last selfie of her life. Let's go back in time to see how this blondie is going to regret and wish that she should have only focused on her pizza instead of messing with a not-so-serious clown. The movie opens as a television hostess is interviewing a woman whom she identifies as the sole survivor of the Miles County Massacre, an event during which the interviewee was brutally mutilated and placed in a coma. The hostess asks about the attack, identifying the attacker as Art the Clown, and the interviewee says that she saw Art die. As she speaks, a person destroys the television set through which he is witnessing the televised interview. This person is revealed to be Art himself, and dresses himself in clown makeup and assembles a bag of crude weapons with which to begin a night of massacre. Following the interview, the hostess is talking to her significant other on the phone. She speaks derogatorily about the woman she just interviewed and beams at the possibility of being skyrocketed to fame as a result of the interview. She gets a call from someone named Tom, but the caller is inaudible on the other end. The hostess sees clothes rustling on a rack and checks for the source of the disturbance, whereupon she is attacked by the mutilated interviewee, who gouges out her eyes and laughs, leaving the hostess to die in her own blood. Two young women, Dawn and Tara, are walking down a sidewalk to their car after an evening of partying. Both having drunk excessively, Tara and Dawn opt to get food to help them achieve sobriety before attempting to drive home. At the same time, we see Art the Clown walking around the same streets. As the girls are discussing their plans, they spot Art the Clown with his bag of weapons. Dawn pretends to flirt with him, against Tara's admonitions. While the two look away, Art vanishes mysteriously. When Tara and Dawn make it to a pizza restaurant, Tara shuffles through photos, but her phone dies. Dawn receives a text from a guy who wants her to meet him at his apartment, but she assures Tara she won't indulge him. Seconds later, Art enters the same pizzeria and sits right next to the girls. As Tara is staring at him, he begins making weird, creepy faces at her. Tara is spooked by him, but Dawn accosts him and approaches him without taking him seriously. She asks to take selfies with him by sitting in his lap, which he allows unwillingly. After she's done, the owner of the pizzeria asks if Art would like any food, but the clown remains silent, even as Dawn informs him that their selfie has amassed 8 likes on social media. Art then takes a coin off a nearby table and buys a toy ring for Tara from a vending machine. He places it on her finger and leaves for the restroom, before the pizzeria owner brings the two young ladies their pizza. After a moment, the pizzeria owner proceeds to expel Art from the building for smearing his feces and urine on the bathrooms. After having dinner, Tara and Dawn discuss about the weirdo and laugh. The girls find the tire to their car has been slashed, and they also have no spare at the moment. Tara then calls her sister Victoria, who is studying for her exams but still agrees to pick them up. As the girls are waiting in their car, Tara suggests that the clown may have slashed their tires, but Dawn is not taking it seriously. An employee at the pizzeria finally finishes cleaning the urine and feces from the bathroom and discovers his manager's severed head. The eyes and nose have been removed and replaced with candle stubs. Art has crafted the manager's head into a jack-o'-lantern. The employee runs for his life but discovers that he is locked inside. He reaches for a phone, but Art chops his hand in half using a meat cleaver before stabbing him in the cheek. He proceeds to stab the man in the face numerous times and leaves his mutilated corpse on the floor. Tara and Dawn continue to argue about whether the clown was dangerous, and Tara says she has to urinate. A friendly exterminator named Mike, who looks like a younger version of Mr. Bean, is working in a nearby building. He is approached by Tara and lets her inside to use the urinal and reveals that the building is infested with rats. She hesitates to use the bathroom after finding it completely repulsive. Disgusted but resolute, Tara urinates eventually. Meanwhile, Dawn toys with her costume in the car and hears over the radio that the two men working at the pizzeria were murdered brutally, and that police are searching for a man who fits the description of the clown she and Tara met earlier. As she realizes this, Art enters her car, and she screams. Mike begins the decontamination process for the building. Tara, attempting to leave the building, wanders into the basement and encounters a woman who is holding her baby daughter, who is revealed to be a plastic doll and not actually a living infant. The woman introduces Tara to her plastic daughter and mistakes Tara for the new tenant of the building, a tenant for whom she and her daughter have apparently been waiting. Tara realizes that the woman is unhinged and makes an excuse to depart the woman's company. Tara climbs a set of steps and spots Art at the main door, then flees as he pursues her. She goes back to where she came from and hides among the cars in the building's parking lot. Art follows her in the same area of the building, and they both spend almost a decade playing a game of hide and seek. Eventually, Art finds her and stabs her in the leg as she tries to escape. She strikes him in the face and attempts to flee, but he catches her and begins to strangle her and try to gouge her eyes. She grabs a scalpel from nowhere, presumably dropped by Art during the attack, and stabs him with it before finally escaping. She grabs a sharp slab of metal to defend herself as Art begins looking for her. She distracts him by throwing a tiny metal turning that makes a sound far away from her. Meanwhile, Tara's sister Victoria hears the same news about the clown on the radio as she is driving to pick up Tara and Dawn. Tara re-enters the building from the parking lot, where Art is still looking for her, and looks for another exit to the building. Limping, she climbs a set of dingy stairs and finds a phone, though it is disconnected. She spots Mike and tries to get his attention, but Art grabs her before she can get his attention and sedates her with a drug-filled syringe. In the next scene, Tara awakens in a basement, where she has been tied to a chair and restrained from speaking or moving her legs with duct tape. She finds Art sitting right next to her, who uses a hammer to scare her. Art then retrieves a hacksaw from his bag of weapons and threatens Tara with it but leaves her alive. He pulls back a curtain to reveal Dawn, suspended upside down from the ceiling, completely naked. Art saws Dawn in half as Tara screams in protest, eventually slicing her into two pieces. As Art finishes killing Dawn, Tara manages to break her restraints and stab Art in the back, allowing her to escape. However, instead of using this opportunity to kill him, she prefers to play hide and seek once more. She hides and grabs a wooden post as a weapon to use, and Art begins to stalk the grounds for her. She sneaks up on him and beats him with the post, but doesn't even bother to kill him. Instead, she starts acting like a boss and challenges him to fight, until he reveals a gun and shoots her in the leg. The woman from earlier whispers to her daughter that she will keep her safe, as she hears Tara screaming in the distance. Tara tries to crawl away, and he shoots her twice more before finding the gun empty, then leaves to find more bullets. Tara is surprisingly alive, even after facing a bullet in her face, which is not funny at all. Meanwhile, Victoria arrives and tries to enter the building. She texts Dawn, asking for their location, but the message is noticed by Art. He impersonates Dawn via text and tells Victoria to come around the back. She complies with the text and goes around the back of the building in search of Dawn and Tara. Art then proceeds to take a selfie with Dawn's mutilated corpse, as she did earlier in the film without his will. He returns to Tara and shoots her in the head several more times, in view of the crazy woman. Art gives her the same weird smile, forcing her to flee. The crazy woman finds Mike the exterminator to try to warn him about the killer, but he doesn't believe her and leaves. Realizing that she left the doll downstairs, the woman runs off in search of her. Mike tries calling his friend, but Art finds him and knocks him unconscious with a hammer. Victoria enters the building from the back side and keeps looking for the girls. While she searches for Dawn and Tara, the woman searches for the doll and finds Art rocking the doll. She tries to reason with him for her child, expressing her love as a mother. She touches his face and embraces him in a motherly hug. He starts acting like a child and does not harm her. Mike's friend arrives in the interim, but is unable to reach him through the phone. Victoria calls Dawn and is similarly unsuccessful, but hears Dawn's phone ring and follows the noise. After a somewhat tense scene of searching, she finds Dawn's mutilated corpse and flees from the room. Victoria hears a scream while running and enters a basement area to search for Tara, but she instead finds the crazy woman who has been scalped and had her chest flayed. Art, wearing the woman's scalp and chest skin, springs to life and pursues Victoria as she tries desperately to escape. Victoria hides in a metal wardrobe, and as a noticeable silence surrounds the movie, Art spots her and laughs at her. However, he leaves when he hears Mike's friend outside the building. As he decides to leave the place, he remembers a spare key and uses it to enter the building. Unlucky man. He finds bloody footprints on the floor and finds the doll after following the trail. Art attacks, stabs him in the head, and decapitates him brutally like a piece of cake. Victoria leaves the wardrobe and tries to find a way out. She also spots Art as he rides a tricycle around what appears to be the building's only potential exit. As he moves away for some time, she continues her effort to secretly escape the building. She sees a small tunnel and intends to move through it, but Art restrains her by wrapping plastic across her face to suffocate her. She barely manages to tear the plastic and spots a nail, stabbing him in the foot with it. It's funny to see that despite getting a lot of chances to kill the clown, everyone in this film is preferring to play hide and seek with him. Mike reawakens and hears Victoria scream as she finds Tara's corpse with a sign that reads, "Circus." As she sobs at her sister's corpse, Art finds her and strikes her with a crude whip. As he is about to kill her, Mike surprises him and knocks him unconscious. He takes Victoria to safety and tries to calm her down. Mike calls the police on a nearby phone and successfully alerts them of the situation. After giving them complete details about the killer, Mike tries to escape with Victoria. Art reappears from behind and beats the man with a gasoline tank, crushing his head eventually. As Victoria tries to escape through the chain door, he begins to strangle her, but she manages to stab him in the eye and once more, instead of taking this chance to kill him, escapes the building and hides in a nearby shed. She nearly gets recaptured but frees herself as Art begins to tease her with that tricycle horn before vanishing from the scene. After a moment, Victoria hears police sirens nearby and goes to check, but Art drives a truck through the shed and collides with Victoria. The police catch Art as he begins eating Victoria's face. They hold him at gunpoint and ask him to surrender. He retrieves his gun and faces the police, only to shoot himself in the head. The officers discover that Victoria is still alive and immediately call for medical assistance. All of the corpses are brought into a coroner's office, including Art's. The doctor begins checking the bodies, and as he unzips the bag containing Art's corpse, the lights begin to flicker madly. As things get normal, Art awakens and chokes the coroner to death, which raises a very silly question: how did he manage to survive that headshot? 1 year later, Victoria is released from the hospital. After rehabilitation from the injuries inflicted by Art, she is revealed to be the severely disfigured interviewee from the film's opening scene, and thus, the events of the entire movie took place that previous year.